Mr. Sears. I am truly honored to have met you here at the conference, and again, I am so honored to be in the presence of a world-renowned speaker, author, and scientist that has created the Zone Diet. I would love to share your information with my patients and the Orlando community. Tell us exactly what is the Zone Diet.
Well, the Zone Diet really goes to the crux of why we age, why we gain weight, why we become sick. It's all due to increased inflammation, not caused by a microbe, not caused by a physical injury, but usually caused by our diet. So when we talk about the Zone Diet, we're using food as a drug to keep inflammation in a zone. Not too high that attacks our body, but not too low that we can't fight off microbes. Now to do that is a lifelong struggle. And that's why the word diet comes from the Greek root, which means way of life. We think of diet as a short-term period of hunger and deprivation to try to get in the swimsuit. That's not the right use. We have to use now the word diet, and the Zone Diet becomes now a way of life to keeping inflammation in that zone.
Well, as I was very honest with you back in 2008, I actually adopted the Zone Diet or the Zone way of life, and it helped me get rid of diabetes and a whole host of other metabolic illnesses. Can you tell me a little bit more about some of your products that you have now that would help me and some of my other patients keep healthy?
There's really three parts to really an anti-inflammatory diet. One is the Zone Diet itself. Now the Zone Diet, and many people say it's so complex. It's really not that complex because all you need is three things. One hand, one eye, and one watch. Now here's how you do this to follow this for a lifetime. At each meal, divide your plate into 3 equal sections. You need an eye to do that. On 1/3 of the plate, you put some low-fat protein, chicken, fish, and if you're vegan, soybean imitation meat products. The other 2/3 of the plate, you fill it until it's overflowing with colorful carbohydrates. They're colorful because they contain polyphenols. These are the chemicals we now know are very powerful anti-inflammatory agents if you eat enough. And finally, we add a dash of olive oil. Now, why do I need the watch? If you've done this correctly, you should not be hungry for the next 5 hours. The secret of weight loss is not deprivation, it's increasing satiety, lack of hunger. If I can basically cause satiety to increase, then basically it becomes simple to lose weight. If I lose weight, I become healthier, I live longer.
Correct.
Now, one of the problems is that you have to do it for a lifetime. And this is why gastric bypass surgery gave us some insight a decade ago of how we might be able to construct new food products that could further increase satiety. And that led to what we call Zone Pasta. It's really not pasta or rice, but what it is a new construct of protein, carbohydrate, and fat that allows us to replicate many of the same hormonal responses as gastric bypass surgery.
Wow.
This is why gastric bypass works, because you release hormones from the gut to go right to the brain saying, stop eating.
Wonderful.
And we could basically now incorporate that. We can basically have really the holy grail for weight loss.
Yes.
Now, 2 things we had to do. You had to make it taste great. Our first generation worked well, it didn't taste great. So we retooled it, we took it to Italy and worked with Michelin chefs to make excellent taste characteristics that we brought back here to introduce now as a treatment for obesity, metabolic syndrome, and diabetes. Because now we have the Zone Pasta, which now is the protein source. We still want to surround it with fruits and vegetables, add a little olive oil, and call it a day.
Wow.
And what you have now is a meal, in many ways a drug, that will stop appetite for 5 to 7 hours.
Wonderful.
And so people say, well, I could do that. That's the operational phrase.
Yes.
It means I can do this, it means I'll be compliant.
Yes.
People will only change their dietary habits if you can give them something that's more convenient and more desirable than what they're already eating.
That's right.
And so again, we feel we have very high regards. We've already run 2 clinical studies with the Zone Pasta with outstanding results in terms of reducing insulin resistance.
Wonderful.
And so now it gives hope to people who say, I want to lose weight, but it's so hard. I'm exercising, the weight's not coming off.
Right.
Because again, they're not controlling satiety.
Yes.
The reason we don't have satiety, because our hypothalamus is inflamed. And by reducing the inflammation in the hypothalamus in our brain that controls appetite and hunger, we now reestablish equilibrium, and by doing so, we just go through life never being tired, never being hungry.
Wonderful. This is revolutionary.
We think it is, and again, I say that not because of a onesie, twosies, but our clinical studies
Yes.
have demonstrated something is working and it's very profound.
Wonderful. I thank you so much for your time, your
Thank you.
expertise, your education, and we thank you for sharing with my patients and all of our other followers here in Orlando and around the world.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Sears.